Hey, hello.
Hey, hello.
Great opening, guys. Hi.
Wow. Just
Welcome to the Midweek Report. I'm Nick. Over on the other end of this call is, of course, the wonderful Justin doing. Actually, he's not the only one doing gameplay today. I'm helping. Yay! See, I can be helpful. But
I'm
shut
helpful.
up.
I'm helpful too.
What's that one? What's that one scene from like Spy and Family for the new anime? It's like helping, helping, like Clara moving boxes from one side of the room to the next.
There you
But
go.
anyways, that one niche of the anime fans in the community, you know exactly the scene I'm talking about. Don't think I don't watch that show. Actually, I haven't. I just see the scene. I just see the clips. But anyways,
Anyways.
I've actually got myself in a binge of watching old anime recently. I'm watching an anime from like back in 2010, but that's another story. Anyways,
We're playing
so
Destiny, but today we are
but
talking about Warframe.
Warframe. That's because, well, I play Warframe and he plays. Well, no, he doesn't play Warframe. Warframe has not been crossplay yet,
No.
and I play it primarily on my PS. So if I were to play it here, I'd have to start all over again. And anyone who's played Warframe, even casually or even for a bit, knows that there is a, I want to say a grind to get back to anywhere good, but that would be putting it way too freaking lightly. So
You know.
yeah, no, no. But don't worry, I played through the whole new update, which is the focus of today's video. Angels of Zariman, in fact. The new update that came out last week on Wednesday, actually, just as we were doing the video. But, as I said last week, I didn't get the chance to play it to its extent and fully, so I didn't have an opinion for you then. I felt wrong to give a review video to something I hadn't played yet, for the most part. You know, it'd be kind of stupid, considering I only played for like 20 minutes, so...
Yeah, you do. You don't really put any time into it.
But don't worry, I spent all of Wednesday after the stream playing it, and I've got a lot to say. So, to begin, the Angels of Zariman update is quite an interesting update because, well, what Warframe will sometimes do, and DE, the developers, will sometimes do, is they'll have an entire update sometimes, but just to introduce a mechanic. Like, it feels like it's a whole like, it feels like it's an entire update. Like, don't get me wrong, it's got some interesting lore implications to the game. It's really interesting in terms of what it presents. The actual thing is actually quite nice, but it feels like it was an entire game mode, or I don't want to say game mode. Like if I had a nickel for every game mode in that game, I'd be rich. Like, no kidding.
I'm
There are so
rich, rich. I tell you.
Honestly, there's like a game mode for almost every freaking planet in the solar system. But anyways, so. But yeah, because the whole the whole thing that came with the Angels of Zariman update is the new housing mechanic and the player housing mechanic. Now, I'm not much for player housing, so I don't think I'll be interacting with it that much. I'm contrary to what I am in real life, in games I'm actually rather minimalist. Yeah, as anyone would look at my Guardian and look at the echelon ostentatiousness of my Guardian and be like, really, you're a minimalist?
Me sitting here beside you. Yes,
Yeah,
minimalist.
minimalist. Honestly, Justin's like, yeah, keep talking.
As you said literally earlier today, yes, I went out of my way to go and bum rush for every kill because I had a bounty to get kills.
I said minimalist. I never said pacifist, but anyways. But yeah.
You know.
But anyways, as I said, yeah, the whole concept feels like it's just made to introduce the housing system. Don't get me wrong, there's some interesting lore implications that come with the update, and I'm really interested to see where they take it in terms of story, which we'll get into. Actually, no, I think I won't get into that, because that might be spoilers for those who haven't played the update yet. It's been out for a week, but, you know, I'll give it time. Maybe another 2 weeks or something.
Just a little bit of time.
A little bit of time. It's only been out since last Wednesday, so... But...
Anyways,
the actual update itself is actually quite interesting. Like I said, you go back to the Zariman, which was something they kind of, like... Which was kind of this massive colony ship that you get in the game. Or, not, you don't get in the game. That was... It's always been kind of the focal point. Because, for those who don't know, to skip over the whole story of Warframe... Basically... the origin of your character and your characters, like in general, kind of like what we have for Guardians in Destiny, being like they came from the Traveler. In the case of Warframe, these beings called the Tenno, which are descendants of humanity, again, long story, is that they came from the Zariman 10-0, which was this colony ship that, after attempted to have basically the equivalent of Warframe's version of hyperdrive, that went really badly and trapped it within essentially the void, literally, is what it's called, which caused the entire crew of parents to go absolutely batshit crazy and start, killing the children. Should I say that on YouTube? Probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. Oh, well, whatever. Oh, well.
Game ended.
Yeah, game ended. Our channel got demonetized. But, yeah, the parents go nuts, start taking the children out. Yeah, I think I'll stay with that. Take the children out. Haha, YouTube. I said that, not the other word. Yes. But, yeah. So that happens, and all the entire crew is presumed lost until sometime later, we don't know when, the ship suddenly reemerges in regular space, and all the crew is presumed dead. Oops, I said that word. Demonetized.
Anyways,
so they come onto the ship, the people of the time. Again, I'm not going to tell you who these people are because I'd have to get into the Orkin and that and da-da-da-da-da. Basically, think of the Orkin if you ever played Assassin's Creed. Think of the Isu from Assassin's Creed, but just take out the whole... actually add in the fact that they were space travelers. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. With like genetics research and their lack of morals and blah 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 blah. Regardless, though, so all the crew is presumed lost until they go on the ship to find that, well, all the parents are, not there anymore. Can't say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. They find that all the children are fine, although they are now taken with these powers, and, well, that's all plot of the game, and, stuff happens. But regardless, the ship is actually finally brought into the game officially with this update. It was brought in, well, I want to say it was brought in last update, which was the Massive War Within update, or not the War Within update, the New War. But there's only like one little bit of the actual new update for that time that you actually...
Oh. So, the current new update right now, the Angels of Zariman. You've been playing it, yes? Hello? That tank just exposed a solar fuel cell. Are you alive? Is Discord work? Oh no, Discord's not working. Oh no! Oh! Why is Discord awaiting endpoint? Apologies, I don't know what's going on with Discord. Hello? I'm connected. Okay. Alright. That's... Okay. Is Discord working now? Apparently there was no endpoint. Discord came up with like, yes, no endpoint. No endpoint to what? I couldn't hear you.
Me and this poor warlock are just sitting here staring and you being like, are you gonna take the church? So I just got it.
I'm literally sitting here like, oh god, what's going on? The audience, they're disappointed. Sadness.
So did everything I say just get lost to the void?
Pretty much, because you like Discord was like, no endpoint. No, yeah, I don't know what this endpoint is, but I can't hear anything.
Okay, when was the rough estimate of when I was supposedly cut off, so I know where to kind
of pretty much around the point when I went and said what you played through the update, the Angels of Zariman.
Beard! My entire explanation of Warframe is now lost. I have to rehash this. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
No, well, you don't need to rehash the base story where you were talking about the parents going after their children for some reason, because they do that in dark stories for some reason.
Yeah. It's kind of a little it was kind of a little unfair to understand the update, but okay, I'll rehash over that just a little bit. Not as much as before, though. But anyways, yeah. Ship, that, again, basically is where your characters from and all the other characters from the game, as far as, you know, players are concerned, are Tenno, and they come from a ship called the Zariman 10-0. This ship was a colony ship that was sent to Tau to colonize, well, the system. This game's version of hyperdrive happened, which is basically a jump through this dimension called the Void. This jump went very badly, and all the crew was presumed lost. Like I said, as Justin kind of pointed out, this didn't actually happen. They were just lost to the Void, and parents went after their children. The parents went absolutely batshit nuts. And yeah, that happened. Eventually it returned to the regular space. All the crew was presumed lost. They went to it to actually investigate, only to find that all the children were alive while all the parents were, well, not alive. So, yeah. Can't say the D word on YouTube, children.
Mm-hmm. Perish.
Doesn't like that, doesn't.
They perished. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, they perished. But the kids were fine. Although they came back with weird powers from the Void, like the power to shoot lasers from their hand. Ain't that fun?
Yes.
Again, I'll spare the whole explanation as to what ended up happening, but regardless, this update sees you going back to the Zariman, which we originally saw very briefly in the last major update from Warframe, which was the new war. But it was only like one little section where you went to like a little bit of a side mission. Nothing serious. Also, I've confirmed on a side note, if I'm going to be good at Killmonger this episode, I'm going to need to finish up this bow. I'm only using this because I'm just chasing after the resonance for the
for any Destiny players, he's one of those guys who goes around and tries to do the masterwork of for killing something and get
I'm just
the minerals.
doing this for the blueprint for the actual bow. I don't actually.
He doesn't do what I do, which is just collect them and then do them all at once.
Well, yeah, because the whole point of the crafting system was to clean up vault space. It's got to kind of productive otherwise.
Yes, clean up vault space. It says.
Yeah,
as the game goes and makes it, you know.
Are you trying to?
You can drive it in here. Come on, get going. What you waiting for?
All right.
Move, human. Do you fear? This is the ultimate form. Do you fear? Of course.
The barrel of a tag in the hallway, like.
Of course, I can't go past the pipes here, but
yeah,
I love doing that. It's just yes. Do you fear?
Oh, God. But anyways, yeah. So the update sees you going back to the ship. What also came along with this update is what I don't know if it was lost to the Void, but my comment that what Warframe will sometimes do in DE by extension is that they will have basically entire like updates devoted to releasing one game mechanic. And in this case, the game mechanic is the new housing system, the player housing system, which you get on the Zariman. It's explained away that since the Zariman was originally the home of the Tenno, which is, you know, player name and da-da-da-da, that you should have a home here and blah 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 blah. So now there's player housing. Despite there already kind of being player housing with ships, but I digress.
Don't worry about it. Details.
Don't worry about it. Details. Anyways. But as I was going to say before I was warned that everything I said was lost to the Void, this is not an update for new players. And I say that not because that it's not, well no, it is not intended for new players, because as I was about to say before I was, like I said,
disappeared.
Told that I disappeared to the Void, myself, yes. Was that there is a leveling system in Warframe. Every weapon and every Warframe that you use has a level attached to it, and it goes from 1 to 50. And as you go up the levels, you get more shields, more health, more mod space for more mods, which are kind of this game's version of power. Like, there is no natural, like, RNG in weapons for this game, or Warframes. If you want to make something powerful, you have to mod it to Hades and back. And I mean that you can get some crazy results with mods in that game. Like, you can have, like, weapons that nuke entire battlefields with one pull of the trigger. It is nuts.
Yes.
Still. So, what is the level actually for this? And this level applies to the enemies as well. some open worlds in the game have pretty low levels, like Cetus, which is on Earth, which is the first planet you get in the game. That is about, I think, from 1 to 15. Of course, the missions can go all the way up to 30 if you go to the hard missions, but I digress.
Yes.
So what is what is the Zariman's level? Well, actually, the Zariman's level is 45 to 50. So basically pushing max. So the enemies on the ship are gonna be, yeah. They're the hardest enemies in the whole solar system, minus the Steel Path, which is basically the entire solar system, which is basically the map for the game, cranked up to 100. Literally, the enemies start off at level 100. So do the math.
There you go. You want some difficulty? Well, there you go.
Yeah, there's your difficulty tweak. You need a nuke gun just to stand a chance. But 45 to 50. So yeah, if you're a new player, I would stay away for a while. Also, because to get to the Zariman actually on the start chart, it requires quite a bit of hopping through other planets and stuff like that. So it's a very late game thing you'll acquire. And fair enough too, because, well, no, not fair enough. But as for the interesting part about this, planets are typically assigned to one of the types of factions. Like some planets will be held by the Grineer, others are held by the Corpus. I'll say the explanation as to what those factions are, but just know they're factions in the game, right?
Yeah, they're different characters and enemies you can run across.
Pretty much. What's interesting about the Zariman is its particular fact that it doesn't actually have a set faction. Every day it actually switches factions. One day it'll be Corpus, one day it'll be Grineer. What's so special about different factions? Well, unlike in Destiny where, I'm not going to have much difficulty killing a Vex versus, a Fallen, which I just put down.
Yes.
There's no real difference between the difficulty for the most part. In the case of Warframe, like I said, that is actually quite structured on things like mods and stuff like that, it can actually be very different experiences depending on what type of being you're fighting. For example, the Grineer, which are basically an army of clones, they don't have shields, they just have very thick armor. So something like a flamethrower is actually quite effective against them, as well as things like blast weapons like grenade launchers, because it rips through their armor. Different types of damage do different actual different levels of damage to different types of things, like the armor they wield and the actual their cloned flesh and stuff like that. So you have to take that into account. Whereas the Corpus, they don't wear much armor, but they do have shields, much like the player. Shields that regenerate if you don't hit them often enough. So, instead of maxing out for things like explosives, you might want to max out for things like electricity, which does a lot of damage to shields. And like I said, on the higher difficulty levels, this can be compounded to extreme ends, where unless you mod into the spec you're going after, like faction-wise, you might not do much damage at all.
There we go.
So there's that to consider. Well done.
Yeah, I did one little hop, and all of a sudden, yes, you're gonna fall into the pit now.
Your character's spine just
his feet just kind of slip on a slight little bit of water, and all of a sudden you just slam into a wall down a pit. There you go.
The Vex infection took him that quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. So it changes daily, so you might have to change your approach to how you actually deal with enemies daily as well.
Yeah, one faction you might have like a really set pattern on what you do and how you can handle them really easily, and then the next day you're like, oh wow, it's this faction that I really don't want to be dealing with.
Yeah, so you might want to have to wait until the next day to deal with it. Again, I'm not going to spare you the lore details, but the actual like high version of the enemies are the ones that appear too. So instead of regular Grineer soldiers, for example, what'll appear on the ship just in general as foot soldiers are Grineer Royal Guards. So basically the foot soldiers get replaced by the elites as the foot soldiers. Have fun.
Yes.
The same thing applies with the Corpus. So instead of regular Corpus, you'll get, Corpus Executives or something. I don't remember what the heck the high levels Corpus are called. But there you go. So, all that said and done, How did the update actually fare on a gameplay standpoint? Well, like I said, I feel like it's a great gimmick to introduce the character housing system, because that is kind of the major selling point of the update. Outside of, like I said, the lore implications.
Yes.
Which are kind of interesting. But like I said, in terms of gameplay, it doesn't really add much outside of the whole character housing system, which I think is the whole gimmick behind it. The update itself, like I said, sees you going through the Zariman 10-0 and, well, doing missions. In this case, it's dealing with the outspread of void energy and keeping everything contained, and dealing with beings called the Angels of the Zariman, which are basically kind of echoes of the void that have been mutated into massive, like, monsters, essentially. There's no nice way of saying it. Basically monsters made from void energy, which are basically acting as mini-bosses you can encounter. Well, I say mini-boss. They actually put up one hell of a fight. Plus the fact, like I said, they're level 50, so good luck.
Yeah.
But, again, it's not bad. The actual gameplay itself, though, on the first day, as I was saying, like with all things Warframe, it was broken. That is because, due to Warframe's way that the game works. See, Warframe isn't like your typical game like Destiny, where there's set maps that are designed and stuff like that. They have tiles, which are designed, and then they get rearranged in random configurations by procedural generation. Think basically like a roguelike. Like, Hades is probably the best analog I can think of at the time, where you have different rooms you go through, and the outlay of rooms is different every time you run through the thing, because it's all done through the procedural generation. The tiles are hand-designed, but the actual layout of the tiles is completely designed by the computer.
Problemo.
Thank you, Cabal!
Did you
Landing
forget
on
about
my head.
Cabal drop pod?
Yeah, well, I was busy explaining and stuff. I wasn't paying attention.
Danger. Cabal drop
which-
pod.
Speaking of which, how much is my bow? My bow is almost done. After that, I can really start killing things. Because bows are not good for, you know, damage dealing.
Unless you're me and you use an explosive arrow.
Yeah, even then, they kill too slowly, I find.
I mean, mine's like
They're good for
amazing
precision,
against the
and they...
fallen, especially
I mean, yeah.
captains.
I mean, yeah, explosives are good, and they're good for precision damage and, like, dealing with bosses and, like, other guardians in the Crucible in some cases, but against massive hordes and stuff like that, nah, they just kill too slowly.
Actually, I'll make a quick point for you. I actually found these kinds of bows that I've been using, the explosive ones, are actually pretty good in momentum control, because you can take down a Titan in one shot if you get a headshot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, like I said, bows actually have a place in things like Crucible, but, like, in regular PvE, you know, against hordes,
it's back and
they
forth.
just kill too slow.
Yeah, it's back and forth.
Yeah. They're nice to have.
That's why I use Ace.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't call them a useless weapon, like I said, because they do have a place in PvE most definitely, but in PvE, it's a crapshoot. I find they kill too slow personally, but... Yeah. But anyways, back to the update for Warframe. Like with all things Warframe, like I said, the first day was broken. What I was going with when I was mentioning the procedural generation is that the tiles are stuck together randomly, connected by doors. Well, this update had a very weird glitch that I have not encountered much, if at all, but for some reason in this update was out in force. I don't know why. And the doors that connected the actual tiles were glitched. So they weren't loading in properly. So sometimes what you just see is a black void when you looked into a door. It was quite interesting. And the door would just be loaded up into the, like, for some reason, the middle of the hallway.
There you go. Don't mind me.
Thanks, I think.
I think the other Warlock helped out too.
Yeah, the other Warlock just nuked it into oblivion,
yeah,
man. Like I said,
so
Warlock Unleashed is terrifying.
Basically weakening plus bomb equals death.
Honestly.
Robot no more.
Honestly, like this like the Guardian games, man, is just Warlocks Unleashed. It's just...
Yes. But oh, there you go. So other than that, how would you say the updates gone so far for it, like major content enjoyment wise kind of thing?
It slows pretty fast. Like, here's the thing. content in Warframe isn't that big to begin with. Like you'll get, a new planet sometimes, maybe a new mission on a planet. So it's pretty much this thing you can experience in like it's not something like in Destiny where you at least maybe need maybe an hour to experience it and then you're done. In Warframe, the missions are typically pretty short. The new war, like I said, that previous update was the exception where it was like multiple hours long. But that was like a whole year long project and they like didn't release anything else for the most part other than that.
Mm. So
But most of the time during the year it's like
it's
a
kind of
small
one of
mission
those like
here.
filler type updates where it's like you're adding in content, new things to do, a couple new toys. But other than that,
A
it's
couple
not
new
like a big
toys,
major thing.
mention. Yeah, it's something you can experience within like maybe half an hour at most. It's not something that long, right? Here, actually, let's do some battlegrounds so I can actually work on a gold medal I've got. But yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I can go and cash in and get one myself then.
Yeah. Here, let me just.
And by cash in, I mean not cash in because I could have used one more strike.
Yay! Warlocks won yesterday. It's pretty even today, though. We'll see by the end of the day. Yesterday, man, I'm telling you, Warlocks were just dominating the board. But anyways. But yeah.
There you go.
The update was quite interesting, like I said. The first day was pandemonium. Or at least the first hours, like the first several hours of the update, because to DE's fairness, the developers of Warframe, they got an update out. They got hot fixes out fast. Like, within, like, by the end of the day, there was already, like, one or possibly two hot fixes already. I don't know if that solved the door issue. I think it solved the door issue.
I'd figure, like it didn't block you from doing stuff, so clearly it wasn't, like, a super big problem, but it was slightly a problem, so...
Oh no, it like locked you in a tile. You couldn't go through the door. You didn't just not have the ability to see the door in the void. You couldn't go through the door. So sometimes you get stuck in a tile and you couldn't leave. So yeah. And especially in the Angels of Zariman update, which has a weird quirk in that the missions you get on the Zariman aren't just like go exterminate enemies, go do this particular mission. There's also subcategories you need to fill too, like for example, get several accolades and turn them into the Cephalon that's mentally broken. Because isolation for 100 years kind of does that to you.
Yes.
But kind of like failsafe's issue. But hats off to failsafe.
Safe lonely.
Oh, lonely. Well, in the case of the Cephalon, I'm not sure it comprehends its loneliness. But anyways. Yeah, so it's like, okay, get some accolades and turn them in. This glitch that often happened if you didn't have the doors would also prevent things like from loading in. So random pickups you get in the world for leveling up purposes and said accolades wouldn't appear either. So if you started a mission, you might be soft locked from finishing it outside of being locked inside a tile. So it was just a compound issue that, the whole quest was just a wash. And especially if you got like a high tier mod, which do drop because, like I said, it's a high tier area, so high tier loot drops a lot more regularly. You might have to give all that up because if you go back to like scrub a mission, you don't keep the things you picked up, right? You have to actually finish the mission entirely to actually claim your pickups.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it can be a bit of it was a very big pain. It soft locks some missions. I even had one moment where for some reason I was in an infinite loading animation in the elevator. And I say this because what Warframe does is there's no like outside of loading between missions, which is kind of like the loading screen of your ship that moves around. There is a bit of a way they disguise the loading screens for open worlds. For example, in both Fortuna and the Zariman, the loading screen is actually disguised as an elevator that just keeps moving up or down depending on if you're going back or going to a mission. So it's kind of like what they did for Mass Effect back in the day.
Yes. Back to old times.
Back to the old days. Yep.
Back when disguising loading areas was literally just freezing your character in one spot, making it seem like things are going on around you when they're not.
Honestly. Hey, don't break the illusion, man. Don't break my illusion.
My lore.
My lord. Honestly, in Mass Effect 2, they actually commented on that when they stopped doing the characters. They're like, one character was like, I miss our elevator chats. Because what would often happen is you'd have characters talking back and forth to each other on the elevator while you're waiting. Alright, now that I want to use that bow, I can really start going ham.
There you
Also,
go.
are we the only ones that are... No, I think we have
No, we've got an AFK.
No. Mr. Unbroken, Mr. PvP, so sorry.
I guess we'll handle it for you.
Yeah, handle this for him. Also, the title, this new gun you get, like, look at this. This is the SMG. Sadly, it does not have any lore with it, despite being an event weapon.
But, you know.
Which is kind of out of the... Which is actually quite uncommon, weirdly enough, for Destiny, like, seasonal weapons. But the, like, the equipment, actually, and I'll actually ask you after the stream about something that you probably have.
Maybe.
So I can actually confirm something. Because, as per usual, each of the seasonal, like, class artifacts has lore with it. But not the weapon for the season, for the event, I mean, surprisingly. Which is a little weird, but whatever. That's a bit of a first, actually, for Destiny. But anyways, moving on. What was I on about? Oh yes! Getting stuck in corridors. So yeah, that was a bit of a pain. And it would essentially soft lock your missions.
So
I
you'd
think
have
they fixed
to...
that by now.
Would you have to restart, or would you have to just kind of backtrack?
Yeah, you'd have to scrub the mission and go back to like the loading hub for the Zariman and just pick a new mission. And what I was going on with about that elevator wasn't just the fact that it reminded me of Mass Effect. It was also the fact that I had this one issue one time where it wouldn't load in. I would just be stuck in the elevator eternally. So, a bit of a loading issue. Though I think I'm the only one who got that, and it was the one time I got it, and after that I never got it again.
Yeah,
so
it could have been a
weird loading bug.
Yeah, it could have been a procedural generation bug. Like one of the maps wasn't 100% set up with like 1 out of 100 other maps, so
yeah, that's possible.
It happens.
Man, this SMG, man, inspires bloodlust. But anyway, so yeah. Other than that, not that bad. Like I said, the update feels a little gimmicky. All updates for Warframe typically have story that kind of adds to the overall plot. And I say that because back in the day, Warframe, for those who don't know, the guys who made Warframe, DE, are the same dudes who made Unreal Battlegrounds back in the day. Or Unreal Tournament and Unreal Battlegrounds back in the day. So they know how to make a good game. Yeah. But they also know how to make games that are kind of bereft of story. I mean, I think Unreal Tournament had some story, but it was like kind of background stuff.
Yeah.
So for a long time, you know, Warframe didn't have any official story. It was like little bits in the lore, like almost like Dark Souls, but the lore was so like disjointed and fragmented that really didn't make sense. In recent years, they've been making efforts to actually have a cohesive story. And it's been showing off, like I said, each update really does add to the story. But in terms of overall gameplay, as you said, Justin, it feels gimmicky. Like, it's high-level content that introduces player housing, and that feels like its only real major purpose.
It was just made to go and be that content filler because of the thing that's now added in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to introduce player housing. I'm not gonna lie, player housing is a nice addition to any game. In fact, I'm kind of hoping Destiny gets it one day, because there are fun things you can do with it lore-wise as well. Like, I want to have my own throne world. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, technically we should be able to create our own that's fairly sized, but you know.
I mean, yeah, technically, and there's no one that can say, "Oh, but you need the darkness because now we will the darkness." So, ha!
There's nothing holding us back this time.
Yeah, nothing holding us back now. I mean, we already know, like, for example, Tolan has one, though it's like a little bit of like a freaking...
Yeah, I would say Tolan's little pocket thing is mainly just used to travel from one throne world to another, probably.
Yeah.
Like it's used as like a connection point for other places.
But, yeah. And we know Mara has one, though Mara has one purely, I think, mostly because of a wish she made with a wish dragon, not any, like, work of her own.
Yeah.
She kind of, like, wished herself in having one, and because wish dragons can grant you anything, it's just like, okay, cool, you have one now.
There you go.
But anyways,
so
back on Warframe, like I said, it felt like a thing to introduce player housing. That was my overall opinion. Content-wise, it's very challenging content. You can get some high-level gear and mods to drop. You can get some high-level mods to drop. So it's not a terrible update. Like I said, if you're grinding for high-level stuff, like Arcanes, which are like modifiers on top of mods. Mods for mods, really. It's a nice source, I guess. And DE's, to their credit, in the description below, actually, weirdly enough, there's update, hotfix number 5, I think it was? And that was from yesterday. So to DE's credit, they get out hotfixes pretty quickly.
Yeah, 31.5.5.
So it's like hotfix number 5.
Yep.
And like I said, they already got like 2 hotfixes out, or at least 1, I know, by the end of that day. And I think 2 as well. Or I think 1 other as well. So to their credit, they weren't like sitting there like dragging their feet with these fixes. They were pretty quick. By the end of the day, there was already 1 dispatched. Weirdly enough, I misread that hotfix, the first one, because it said they also dropped the level cap. And I'm like, oh, cool, they dropped it from like 40 to 45 instead of 45 to 50. Which, you know, is at least a little weaker. Enemies that are a little less, you know, godlike. But no, I misread. It's actually, they decreased the level cap for the actual mission that introduces the Zariman. Not the Zariman itself, which feels a little counterproductive.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Because you're still going to have to deal with that level if you ever attempt any of the missions on the Zariman, which I have. I won't lie, some high-level, like, god-level players have carried me on a few occasions. I won't lie.
Yes. Thank you.
Because I do not play Warframe enough to mod, and I do not, well, I don't want to say I don't understand the modding, but I do not, like...
Modding is just a little
The meta
tricky.
in, like, Destiny, or not, the meta in Warframe
Get on,
is, like,
get on, hurry! Ignore the
no,
play.
the elevator.
Ignore it.
Ignore
Move.
it. I must have blood, but...
Yeah, well, get on before you don't get blood.
But, yeah. No, probably shouldn't move because there's gonna be a drop pod that falls here. No, it already dropped, so...
Yeah, it already dropped. That's why the elevator didn't go up right away.
But yeah, so... What was I on about? Oh, yeah. So yeah, like I said, it feels a little gimmicky to the player housing. I keep harping on that because it's really my overall opinion on the thing. High-level characters, mods to mods. Oh yeah! I would say I'm a high-level player. I'm a casual player of Warframe. I play it a lot, don't get me wrong, but not as much as I... Not as much. Ugh. Not by any means as much as I would play something like Destiny. Plus, like I said, to be good at Warframe is a little bit more, well actually no, a lot more complex because you actually have to know the modding system, and you have to know the metas, and crit builds, and stuff like that, and... Because you can't just mod for damage, right? You have to mod for crit damage, in a way.
Yes.
So you can just, like, shoot... there are players who can shoot 1 bullet or cast 1 ability, and suddenly the entire battlefield drops. That is how... That is how powerful they mod themselves to be, and that is how you have to be at high-level, not high-level content. That just is a requirement. Can we do Battlegrounds, by the way? I have a gold medal for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run back over to the tower real quick, because now I can do a Battlegrounds as well.
Oh yeah, I thought you had it already.
Well, no, I thought I had it, but I didn't have enough literals. I didn't have money.
I didn't have enough laurels.
I didn't have enough money.
Honestly,
You require more money.
I have more laurels than I know what to do with at this point. I've got like 500 to 500. I keep trying to get rid of them, but I can't.
Well,
But,
that's why you go from activity to activity and you complete the thing.
I do, but I can't complete them fast enough.
Hmm.
I am such a killmonger, I get more laurels before I can get the next bounty.
You fool.
I'm that much of a... Hey, I'm that good at my job. What can I say?
Mm.
But anyway, so, yeah,
Like, gameplay-wise, it's an alright update to introduce the thing that you wanted.
Yep, high-level update, like I said, if you're a new player, stay away. Like, unless you know the modding system as well, don't even bother, because you will have to deal with the high levels of the high-level enemies. Like, for example, like I said, instead of regular old Grineer, you'll deal with Grineer Royal Guard, which don't sound all that terrifying until you actually have to fight them. And you realize that nothing short of a nuclear warhead is even scratching their armor. So, yeah. Warframe, by its own admission and by its developer's own admission, is a power fantasy. But remind you, both for the players and the enemies. So, you know, like I said, you have to be good at, you know, it's not like Destiny where any idiot can pick up a gun and be, you know, a good-ish player, or at least a casual player. You can be a casual player in Warframe, but to be good isn't just something you can just practice at. You also have to know, like I said, the modding system and know what's good against
you
what.
must know the meta.
Honestly, the meta, like crit builds,
If you
is
do
like
not,
one of the highest things people
if you
spend.
don't have your stoic perk right maxed out right now,
You got that story deck perk max out right now. Honestly, that is how it is with Warframe. No one's gonna fault you for not knowing the meta, right? And there are some veteran players that don't mind carrying lesser players. Like, I don't want to say lesser players, newer players.
yeah. And I mean, no matter what, like when you're a lower player, like in any game, like your overall power and abilities are just lower because you kind of joined, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm in a high level activity. That the one thing that
And
you
get
can,
immediately squashed.
but no, like the one thing that you can at least contribute to is taking out like the lower enemies, and like contributing by helping your team out where you can.
Honestly, even in then with Warframe, it's not like Destiny. The cannon fodder itself is enough to like. It's basically like, think of in Destiny, if you play Destiny, a legendary lost sector. That's the entire mission.
I mean, I can do those.
Yeah, but I use those as a short analog. They're far worse. At least you can do damage here. In like legendary, in like high tier Warframe,
yes.
I like will sit on one grunt for an hour, shooting at him, watching his health bar drain in increments of 0.1%. I am not even lying. It is horrifying. But that sounds extreme, and that's because it is. Like I said, power fantasy for both you and the enemies.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if there weren't, you would just be like walking through battlefields, able to just like basically one-man raids, essentially. Like, look at a boss and his spine collapses.
Perish.
Honestly, like that's how it feels like if you're a high-level player and playing low-level content in Warframe. You can just glance at enemy and they just disappear from existence. Begone, lesser entity.
Yes.
Your god commands it, but yeah, no. So stay away from it if you're a low-level player. And mods, that's just Warframe in a nutshell. And the mods themselves are RNG drops, so sometimes you might not get what you want. So, but anyways.
Yes, time to
Though
wait.
at least you can tell what drops what, so it's not like
yeah,
a
you
complete
can.
crapshoot.
Yeah, you're at least going and like have
You can
a
at
higher
least farm
chance.
certain enemies to know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are farm frames, there's crit frames, there's a bunch of things. There's healer frames, there's... People spec out all kinds of stuff. But anyways... sorry. Bloodlust.
As you do, apparently.
As you do. Honestly, if this were console, I'd have crushed the entire battlefield of it. Your sword, man. You're just like going ham on this guy. You're just like, what?
Fly, you fool! Now perish!
I wanted to see if I could force him off the cliff.
No, he goes my way.
Meh. Mine. The shriekers are mine. Aha. It's like, really?
Ah, yes.
But,
Meanwhile, me just killed the Shrieker already. The sooner it's gone, the better.
Honestly, that's a universal statement, I think, for shriekers. Who knew the Hive were so good at territory control? Wait, aha, gee. My brain forgot which one was the finisher move for a second.
Yeah, I got it.
Controller. I didn't mean to do that, but okay. My finger accidentally grazed the F button.
As you do.
Supered. Yeah,
As
so
you
I
do.
supered unnecessarily. Yeah, oh well. But anyways. So the update itself is not bad. Like I said, it's new content, which is always nice in Warframe. Stay away if you're a new player. I can't stress that enough. You will regret it otherwise.
But other than
Yes,
that,
they dropped the level cap for the actual introduction mission of it, but that is not for the actual activities themselves. That's just for the mission. So if you're after lore, you can get the lore without working as hard, but if you're actually going to play the content, you're in for a shock. Meta, meta, meta. That is the game in a nutshell in its highest layer, in its highest tiers. It's like Crucible, the game.
yes.
But,
Knife.
Yeah, it's like, oh, nice idea there. Oh, you said knife. Oops, I thought you said nice.
Knife.
You just knifing people. Shotgun. Wait. Oh,
Knife.
wait. I'm like, why is my shotgun not coming out? I keep forgetting that this regular weapon is the secondary, and my shotgun is my first. So, haha.
Yes.
Ah. But yeah, it's decent. Other than that, it's not something that'll probably keep you engaged for very long. Like I said, you might be able to get it done pretty quickly. I know I did.
Yes.
But what else can I say about it?
It's not too much to.
They probably fixed most of the problems by now, so don't worry. You probably won't get stuck in a hallway. But no guarantees. Okay. I promise nothing, but I'm pretty sure you won't at this point, so you should be fine.
There you go.
They're pretty good with updates as far as Warframe is considered. So yeah, there it is. That's the actual game itself. There's the new update, Angels of Zariman. Whole new reputation system as well, so veteran players have something else to grind for about a week until they max it out. So, yeah.
There you go.
Not yet. So yeah, there you go. That's Angels of Zariman.
Yeah.
Like I said, high-level content made for high-level players. Meta.
Meta. There you go. As it is.
Honestly.
So.
And if you're looking for high-level gear, you know, it's a good place. Arcanes, you'll get a lot of good high-level arcanes drop from it, I think. I say that because they are rare, very rare arcanes, but like I said, I don't know the modding system enough to know if they're good or not. Maybe they're
Maybe not. Who knows?
But yeah. But you're basically, for those who don't know, arcanes are essentially mods for mods, but yeah. It can get convoluted, but meh, whatever. So yeah.
There's that.
There you go.
Alright. Well, hopefully you got your,
Oh! One other thing I should say. I forgot to say this, and I probably want to say this. My opinion on the overall feel of the Angels of Zariman update. Probably should have said this from the beginning, but it completely slipped my mind. Like I said, we don't have a script, so some things will go completely forgotten, and sometimes I'll forget things till the very end. That happens. But regardless, my thing I wanted to end off on is that the game itself, like the new update, the Zariman itself, and the whole vibe they're going for, it feels very Dead Spacey. Like, you go through the ship and there's eerie music playing, you see like, hand paintings of like eldritch monsters on the walls that like people that are probably lost their minds made, and you know, you've got rooms that are half broken and the lights are flickering, and like I said, it feels very Dead Spacey. And I feel like that's because Warframe is trying to lean into the kind of the kind of space horror aspects that their story does kind of lend itself to. Like, you've got the man in the wall, which is the personification of the void, this otherworldly plane, and all the stuff that comes from that, and oh crap. Thought I was gonna die there for a second. I am indestructible!
as you go and put a bomb into a wall.
Yeah, I know. I did that a little too late to hit him. But yeah, no. Like I said, it feels very Eldritch Horror-y, very Dead Spacey. So, expect that going in. The music is kind of eerie. It's a very good atmosphered update, don't get me wrong. Like, in terms of actual thing, it's actually quite fun to play. Like, I've been kind of dissing it in a way, being like, oh, it's, you know, high-level content made for high-level players, you know, don't attempt it unless you're high-level, da-da-da-da-da. I got stuck in hallways, but don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed the actual mood of the update. It's actually quite interesting. Like I said, I've never played Dead Space, but I know enough about the series, and I've seen enough playthroughs and stuff like that to know the kind of vibe, and it really does nail that kind of vibe. I feel like that's what not Bungie, what DE has been trying to go for a while now, the kind of eldritch horror aspect of Warframe. So, you know, there you go.
There.
As I explode from a moth.
And you're stuck there now.
Oh well, this is where I live now.
Yep.
I live in this plane now.
You over here? Oh, you're over there now. Oh, cool.
Oh, am I here? Am I there? Am I anywhere? Oh, there I am.
There you go.
Yay!
Pick up this chest.
I finished the perimeter sweep. We're all clear. I think we can pack it up.
Also, side note, I think they updated the dialogue.
Yeah. What, for the activity?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
With the new Guardian games.
Oh.
I understand.
Yeah, no. Like, I think there's a new update for Guardian games they added in for this. Not for the actual event itself, but new update in general, or new dialogue in general for it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like at the end of the season, like after you've completed everything.
No.
The new dialogue, and I'm like,
there's
yes.
content for that too, yeah. But I feel like for Guardian games as well, they added a new dialogue for the after.
Nah, well, there you go. All right. Well, for
Anyways, yeah.
for the Warframe fans, there you go. You got some
Something to look forward to.
nice stuff going on there, and yeah, hopefully DE goes and continues down their path of creation and development, and we'll see how it all goes.
Like I said, I feel like DE is really leaning into the kind of space horror aspect that Warframe lends itself to. You know, you've got eldritch gods and unfeeling beings and stuff like that, and beings that are only messing with humanity for their own amusement, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Real Brother and Moon stuff. No, actually, the Brother and Moons are far more malevolent, but
You know.
then again, with the Man on the Wall, hard to tell. He's on his own side. Who knows?
Well, hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week then for some more news.
Yep, we'll see you next week. Maybe we'll talk about... actually, no, I won't say anything.
All
We don't
right.
get off that easy.
Well, until then, we'll see you around.
Yeah, see you around. And from the battlefield of the moon, bye-bye.
Agreed. I won't allow them to crush.
Kill them all, boys!